If you are really on the path of healing and like breaking generational cycles, and what an honor to do that. It's not humble to think you're better than someone.
No.
It's humble to do this work and then to be able to be there for the other people and help them potentially shift their perspective.
And to hold that compassion.
Welcome to the Multiple Truths podcast. We're your hosts, Holly
and Brittany. This is a space where we can come together healing in community, where we share our self-love journeys, insights, and wisdom.
A space with no hierarchy or judgment, fostering love, compassion, and respect, and where we honor our differences. With open minds and hearts, everyone's truth is welcome here. We are in this together. Let's dive into the episode.
Hello. Welcome back. We're here with both Holly and I today.
Woo, welcome back.
We're here. You know, Holly just comes to visit and we batch film. So we're always kind of like, how are we going to start this? Because we can't give the same life update every single time.
Yeah.
You know, Holly and I feel so called to speak out on our thoughts, our opinions, our views, what we feel to be true for us. And that kind of segues into this topic because, you know, I feel like we're entering an era where we are all becoming our own gurus. You know, we're all really starting to learn how to understand what truth feels like in our own body, to really lean into your own intuition. And I feel like we live in a society where we have placed so many people on these pedestal. I say pedestal. I'm correcting myself because in one of my videos on YouTube, people were correcting me.
We're going to say pedestal.
That's how I pronounce it.
I pronounce it pedestal.
I know
as well.
that's not how it's spelled. It's pedestal, but I say pedestal. So I just, not that it matters, but people were correcting me. So it's just how I pronounce it. But anyways, going back to what I was saying, we live in a society where we have placed people on pedestals, and we see that within the spiritual community. We see that, you know, just in life,
religion, society, celebrities, like it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
We place a lot of like people on pedestals.
And there's nothing wrong with like looking up to someone. There's nothing wrong with, looking up to people and being inspired by people. But it gets murky when we start to idolize people. It starts to get murky when we look to these people for all of these answers because we're human at the end of the day, you know?
And I think people people are so lost these days.
Yeah.
And so they're looking to someone that looks like they have all of the answers. Yeah. And that's where it gets dangerous, you know, with these cult leaders, spiritual leaders, religious leaders, all of that. And, you know, Brittany and I, we often say, you know, like we're very bold in our opinions and, you know, we are intuitive women, like women, we are intuitive women. We receive, you know, messages. Everyone receives messages, you know, and so it's like we want to just obviously have this conversation and know that like even the playing field of like everyone is their own healer. Everyone is their own guru. Everyone has the answers for themselves. It's just the ability to tap in and like feel what feels true for you. I feel like so many of us are disconnected from who we are and disconnected from our power. And I feel like the whole journey of coming home to self is like realizing your power and that you hold the answers and like you are your own healer. You are your own medicine. You are the only one that holds the answers for yourself. Of course, look to people for advice and who you trust, but it's like you hold the answers for yourself.
Yeah. And it's tough too, because when a lot of people are lost, right? And there's nothing wrong with seeking for more. And it's tough, right? Because if you're in a space where you don't yet fully know how to tune into that within yourself, it's really easy to look at somebody you admire and also simply agree with them just because you admire them. And it's acknowledging like it's okay to be in a place where you don't yet know how to connect with yourself. And it's okay not to have the answers to everything, right? There's certain things where I'm like, I'm not sure how I necessarily feel about these things yet. And I'll listen to other people, look to other people, listen to other conversations, and I'll think, that's interesting. Do you know what? I'm going to, before I decide, I'm going to wait and I'm going to sit with it for myself. And eventually I'm sure that answer will come to me. It's really important not to, just look to someone that you admire and just agree with them just because you admire them.
Yeah.
And just, myself, like I'm a medium, I'm a psychic, I do tarot readings, and I feel like it makes me almost a little uncomfortable sometimes because I get a lot of, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. I really, really do. And I do. And I want to acknowledge that. However, I do get comments where people are like, "You're such a clear channel, da 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 da," and it almost makes me feel a little uncomfortable sometimes, because I don't want people to ever only be looking to me for the answers, because I'm human, I have an ego, I'm going to make mistakes, I've made mistakes, I know that there's more mistakes to come, and I am very strong in my conviction with certain things, and I think there is something beautiful with speaking your truth and speaking your truth, and I always will. With that said, I always like to say, and same with Holly as well, it's trust yourself, trust your intuition. If something I say rings true for you and you feel that, beautiful. However, if you're unsure or you don't feel that in your body, you don't need to agree with me, just because I'm a medium, just because I'm a psychic. We all have the ability to, it's our God-given birthright to connect with our higher selves, to connect with spirit, to connect to our angels, to connect to God. It's our God-given birthright. It's simply a matter of learning how to connect with that, within yourself. And we all have the ability to, so it's not like I'm special in that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's just so important to know, like we can be talking about certain things and like it may not resonate for you, and that's okay, but like it can still feel true for me, it can still feel true for you. Like we all have our own truths, and I think we do have to work, as we live in a society, so like there are specific things that like if we're all just going on our own truths, we got to work together here.
That gets, because that gets distorted too, right?
Like we need to work together here to make sure we're making this a safer world for everyone, and living in a society where we're all working together. But just because we say something doesn't mean like you have to resonate with it, and if we do, beautiful, amazing. But I feel like too, it's just, I feel like really wanting to tell you as a listener, like take your power back and know that like if you keep seeking people like outside sources for validation or for the answers, it's like that is giving your power away. Like you hold that power as well, and you just need to like connect with yourself enough to be able to discern what feels true for you. And I feel like the more that comes online, I feel like too, with the healing journey, like getting clear on like your young wounds and integrating your inner child and your inner teenager and higher self and all of that, to like feel what feels true for you and like get back to your voice and your truth. But I think just as a society, people are looking for answers, and we seek things outside of ourselves all of the time. I was too. And I think it's just, it can get really murky because there's so many people that are in leadership positions that are like not in integrity and are spreading things and are saying, oh, I got this message or this, and like acting as God when that's just, and it can be really murky for people that are really vulnerable.
Oh, I just had a deja vu. But going off of what you're saying, people in these leadership positions, especially within the spiritual community, right? It's like, I got this message from God, and that can be really dangerous because often, like, we all have the ability to receive these messages.
Everyone receives messages.
Whatever it is you want to call it. However, it's so important. Healing is so important. Integration is so important because these people who are receiving these messages, sometimes, yes, they might receive a message. However, it's filtered through the lens of their ego. And if you haven't done the work to acknowledge and be able to really recognize your ego, the message that you receive, because if you're receiving it through the lens of your ego as a human, you're going to distort the message. It might be partly rooted in truth, but because it's filtered through the lens of your ego without that awareness, the message can be distorted, which can actually perpetuate a lot of harm.
Because it's like, and even you can tell in the delivery too, I got this message. It's egoic. But in the way that someone says it. Do you know what I'm saying? But that comes with discernment, which a lot of people don't. If you're not connected with yourself, you can't discern if that feels true for you either. So I think we were having this conversation actually, and just to be totally transparent with you guys, because like as a woman, an intuitive woman, intuitive women, it's easy to say, because everyone gets messages. We do get messages, and it's like, but does it, like, I don't want to come across as I know everything. If just because I got a message it may be true for me, but that doesn't make it true for you. You know, it's like getting a message, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's true for everyone. It's just true coming through for you at that time.
Yeah. It's so murky. It's just so murky. And again, it's not black and white because, you know, I receive messages. I know you receive messages, and there's nothing wrong with saying that either, or admitting that, because we do all receive messages. It's just when people talk about receiving messages, it's important to just remember discernment, just because people have an ego sometimes,
and the context
sometimes they filter those messages through the lens of their ego. And I know, like, just some personal examples, like for me, I've received messages for me, specific to me and my journey, and sometimes, like, the messages that spirit will bring through very clear are not necessarily literal. And it's really important to be mindful of that. Like, there's certain things on my journey that I needed to fully believe. I needed to fully believe it in that moment, even though it wasn't fully true. I needed to fully believe it for my growth and evolution. There was purpose to it. You know, one example, I received a clear message that I was meant to be with this man. I was meant to have his babies. Him and I got that message together through plant medicine, and I needed to fully believe that. And I know later through integration, a part of the reason why I needed to fully believe that was to choose myself. I needed to choose myself, and I ended up walking away. But also, it was what made me realize that I am supposed to have kids, because at that point in my journey, I didn't think I was supposed to have kids. So there was a switch within me as a result of that experience. And this is a little different because this gets into a whole other realm of conversation as well, right? It's when we receive messages for ourselves on our own unique journeys, they're not always completely true, but there's purpose to it. So it's important not to necessarily take all of it literally. And then the other side of the conversation, it's like when we're receiving message for the collective, it gets murky when these spiritual leaders, or whoever, whether you be a spiritual leader or not, it's kind of like, I received this message from God and he said this. And it's kind of like, that can get murky too, because, you know, if we're looking up to these people thinking like, oh, they have such a clear channel, or, oh, they're so connected, like that must be true what they're saying. And
it's important to know everyone's human. Everyone's human, and no one has all the answers, you know. And two, it's like,
we all have blind spots.
Yeah. And I think too, it's like, based off of, even what's coming to mind is like, people within religion, oh, being gay is wrong. This is in the Bible. This is in there. And it's like, anything that's not rooted in like unconditional love either is not true. And I just think that we just look up to so many people that have not done the healing work to even be able to get to the point of being able to like discern what messages are true, what messages are for the collective. You could get a message for the collective, but that may be just what needs to be heard in that moment. It doesn't mean that it's absolute truth. Do you know what I'm saying? I just think we have so many wounded people and that are trying to be special, that are trying to be seen, to be heard. And like, so they're delivering these messages. I got this message. And so when I say, you know, I feel like I got this message, I'm even get a like a tightness in my chest, because I'm like, I don't want to ever come across as I have all the answers, you know, because there are so many wounded people that claim that they're getting these messages, but it's from, see me, I'm special, I'm getting this message from God, I'm the chosen one, you listen to me. And I just think we need to call that out. I just feel like I really want to call that out. And even the playing field of like, no one is special. We're all special and we're not special at the same time. We all have the ability. We're all getting our own messages. And I think it's just so important to know that like you hold the answers. And I just think the more that you come more home to yourself and learn how to have that discernment. And again, it can be really hard to trust yourself and trust others when you've experienced trauma. So that's where like going to a trauma-informed therapist or therapy, or if you feel called to plant medicine, or, you know, the journey of coming back home to self, learning how to love yourself, the more that trust comes online, because that's been a huge part of my journey is learning how to trust myself again and trust others, because I lost trust for myself because I abandoned myself so many times to just please other people. So I couldn't fully trust myself. So I think learning how to trust yourself, learning how to stop asking other people what they think you should be doing, because of course, again, you can get support, but no one has the answers for you besides yourself. And I think we really give our power away to so many outside things where it's like, you know, if you sit with yourself long enough,
The answer will come.
Yeah, the answer lies within you. And
and it's a journey to get there, though. It's a journey to get there, and it's acknowledging that too.
I just got here.
Yeah, the journey of trusting yourself is a journey. It takes time,
and it's still like the little nuggets of experiences continue to come up of, can you trust yourself with this?
Yeah, and what's also coming to that I want to touch on is spiritual psychosis. I mean, there's psychosis in so many ways. There's political psychosis, religious psychosis, spiritual psychosis. But as we go through this process of awakening, you know, receiving these messages, the guidance, it's so important to do the healing work alongside of that,
and
because
be grounded.
And to ground it into this human experience, because without that, it's easy to go up and get wrapped up in spiritual psychosis. And so that's where so much distortion can be perpetuated and can happen. And just because somebody has a lot of followers online, okay, it does not mean that they are as rooted or as integrated as they make themselves out to be,
or that they're sharing truth.
Exactly.
Or that they are sharing truth. I want to make that so we have so many people out here that are spreading really harmful messages that have millions of followers. That doesn't mean that it's true.
Exactly.
And I think that the amount of followers, the amount of engagement, whatever it is, that doesn't equate to anything, honestly.
No, it doesn't. And we're starting to see the illusions crumble. Like we're seeing it happen already, like right in front of us.
With celebrities too. You know, we put celebrities on pedestals and look to what they're doing and think we need to live our lives based off of them. And it's like, that's not true for everyone.
We make so many assumptions. We make so many assumptions about people in both ways, right? Like with celebrities, people who are really in the public eye, we assume these really good things about them. We also assume these negative things about them, and we need to stop. Like we need to stop making these assumptions. We need to stop putting people on pedestals. We need to just level the playing field out for everybody. We need to start looking at everybody as equal. We need to start looking at everybody as human. You have something to learn from every single person here on this earth, as every single person here on this earth has something to learn from you as well, because we are all unique. We bring something, we all bring something unique to the table that only you can bring, because nobody else is you. Nobody else has experienced exactly what you have experienced. And I feel too within the spiritual community, and I was guilty of this at one point in my journey too, when I really started awakening, there was like this superiority thing, starting to feel like I had the answers, starting to feel better than. Now, at that point in my journey, I was very aware. I was very aware, and I was very honest with myself. Thank God. And I was kind of like, ooh, okay, I'm acknowledging this feeling, because we can't help it. This is where we need to let go of the shame.
Right.
We're human. And these feelings are sometimes going to come about, whether that be feeling better than somebody, or whether that be judgment, or whatever it may be. So going back to my example, I started on my spiritual awakening journey because I had this, and I know it's not just for me. This is going to be a lot of people. I had a very fast, a very intense awakening, and it was a lot. Like I was even bordering psychosis for a while there myself. And I was very aware of it though. And I was very honest with myself, and I said, okay, you know, I'm speaking, like, you know, I believe these things about we're all equal and stuff. However, I believe that we're all equal. I believe that we are all equal, but I'm feeling superior. Something's not matching here. So during my prayers, I asked for help. I said, help me. And I asked for help. And I think only because I asked for help though, and because I was willing to admit it to myself, Spirit brought me on a journey to humble me and to bring me back down to earth. And I did come back down to earth, and there's nothing to be ashamed of, because I know that that's a very real experience for a lot of people, and it's going to be a very real experience for a lot of people, but we need to be honest with ourselves in order to ground, you know?
Yeah. And something I want to say too, first, like to go off of what you were saying a little bit before, like we are all pieces of the puzzle. We've talked about this in a past episode. Like we are all pieces of a huge puzzle here to restore balance on this earth and whatever it may be. But something, like if you are starting to feel better than someone else, that is also your spiritual ego.
Yeah.
And we need to acknowledge that, because, you know, it can be really easy. Like, oh, I'm doing the inner work. I know I can see things from a different perspective. They're like thinking that you are better than. I think it's like, but no, we're simply all on different journeys, and you're gaining that knowledge to maybe help someone open their perspective, but like honoring where someone else is on their journey. That doesn't make you better. That doesn't make us better. Like it makes us human, and we get to honor where other people are on their path.
And I feel like too, like everybody has a different role. We all have a different role. I feel like some people came here to bring that diversity. You know what I'm saying? Like people in the spiritual community talk about, oh, these NPCs, people that are trapped in the matrix and they're looked
honestly,
down
I do not.
upon.
I just want to. I've already said this before, but I just do not resonate with the word matrix. I just have to say that. I'm just going to be, because we're here on earth. I get the matrix, but I just want to point that out real fast.
But
anyway.
going back to what I was saying, within the spiritual community, people tend to look down because they use these words. They look down on people who are quote unquote NPCs, people who are in the matrix. And it's like, maybe that's their role here. That's their role to help you, find your voice, find the courage to, because it's not easy to wake up and to go against that.
Right.
Maybe in this lifetime, that's their role and they're meant to be there. And that's an honorable role. Maybe in another lifetime, they're on the flip side. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like everyone's here for different reasons. People are here to bring the polarity. There's light and darkness here. We need all of it here. Why are we putting those people down? Those people, because it's not easy to, and I'm going to use the word matrix because it's used in the spiritual community. It's not easy to quote unquote break out of the matrix because of the judgment, because of,
well, and the society that we live in, we have to make money. We have to work these jobs that we don't like because it's a societal thing. We have to.
Yeah, exactly. But it would be easy without people playing those roles. And there's something so empowering about stepping into that and awakening and all of this. And we need that polarity in order to have our journey. So it's like we shouldn't be putting these people down. We shouldn't make those assumptions. We shouldn't make those judgments. It's like everyone is where they're at on their journey, regardless of what that is. Your journey is going to be different. People are here for different reasons. Maybe a soul came down here to experience the quote unquote matrix for whatever reason, and we need to honor that.
With the word matrix, because we're talking about the spiritual community, we'll leave the matrix thing here. But something I want to say too is like, there's so many wise women that I see on TikTok that, have quote unquote, they're working women, they're owning their own jobs, they're hosting retreats, they're tapping in, they're, wise women. But I also see a lot of not being grounded, and it's like people look at them as like, oh, they have so much wisdom, like they're talking about these things that are like, I've never even thought of this, and they're running their own business and they have their own thing, like they must know better than me. But there's a lot of people out there that are very ungrounded,
men as well.
Men too, but specifically on my page I get a lot of women where I'm like, yes, I love it to see it. I love to see women using their voices and their power. But then there's also a piece where I'm like, this feels ungrounded. And so I just think it's so important to, if you're looking up to people that are, in the spiritual space or not, just in general, it's so important to, use your own discernment and take from them what you feel like it feels good for you. And something too, I want to touch on too, if like you're healing within your family and you're the one that's really like doing a lot of the deep healing work, that doesn't make you better than your siblings or your family members. I think too, if you need to create boundaries for your family, absolutely do that. Cause you may be able to see things from a different perspective, and you need to do what you need to do for you. But I know for me, it's like, I know I'm doing a lot of like learning how to love myself, a lot of healing work, but I still really value what my sister has to say. I really value what my brother has to say. I value what my mom and my dad have to say, and I listen to them. And I take into my own lens. I always trust myself, but I know they're here in my life to teach me too. And I'm here to listen and learn from them. Just because I'm on this healing path doesn't make me better than them. I'm also learning from them, just as we're all here to learn from each other. We're all here to, just because someone else may be more further along their path in whatever sense that is, everyone's on their own path. So it's just like, I think
what does it even mean to be further along?
Exactly. So everyone's on their own path. Yes. But I
think
they
should be.
And I think, but that in the spiritual community, it's like, I'm more enlightened. Like I'm further along my path. And so I have a different perspective where you may have a different perspective, but that doesn't take away from the other person's perspective.
Yeah. Like I said before, maybe what they're experiencing is exactly what their soul came here to experience. Right. So they might be very far along their path in this lifetime. So it's kind of like we need to stop casting that judgment. And, like I said before, we have something to learn from every single person on this earth.
We really do. I think it's really easy. I don't know, like feel like we're better, you're better than, or, and it's like, no, if you are really on the path of healing and like breaking generational cycles and all of that, what a fucking humble honor to do that. It's not humble to think you're better than someone.
No.
It's humble to do this work and then to be able to be there for the other people and help them potentially shift their perspective.
And to hold that compassion.
That contain, yes. And like, I honor where you're at on your journey. I get it. And
to see the beauty in it.
Yes.
Because there's beauty in every step along the journey.
Yeah.
And it's also remembering time, getting a little spiritual again here. Time, we're experiencing time the way we are in this reality, but time kind of is an illusion, right? It goes forwards and backwards. It's all happening at once. There is another version of you somewhere else that is stuck in the quote unquote matrix, for example. You know what I'm saying?
And wouldn't you want someone to have compassion for you?
Exactly.
And like be something, patience too is really coming to mind, because it's one thing to, like we're not here to think that we're better than, but it can get frustrating if you can see something from a different lens and the people in your life just aren't seeing it that way. Patience, humility, trust that they're on their own journey, finding it in their own way. Maybe they're in your life to help you be patient and to help you hold compassion with non-judgment. It's like, we're not here to think we're better than, we're here to learn from these people too. And maybe it's in a harder way.
Or to help you insert those boundaries for yourself.
Yes.
To help you have those uncomfortable, truthful conversations while holding compassion.
Yes, exactly.
It's not easy.
I think boundaries are really huge, because I know a lot of people have unhealthy relationships with their family.
Yeah.
Like I personally don't. Like I love my family. I've had to place boundaries. Absolutely. We all have in our own ways, And I actually, like I feel like I actually had to, I moved, and not because I don't love my family. I love my family so incredibly much, but I feel like, I just want to say too, if you're on this path, like, I feel like I'm sacrificing a little bit because I'm traveling and doing my own thing, and I love it so much, and I'm so grateful for my family, but I am away. And I feel like if you're on this path too, like, know that it does come with some sacrifices, because like I would love to be with my family more, but I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be. But I know that a lot of people do have to place boundaries within their family, and that that's a part of your path of breaking generational cycles where there was toxic things happening within mom, dad, or mom, daughter, whatever it may be. Like a lot of people have to place boundaries, and that's a huge piece in like standing up for yourself and choosing yourself. And it's really, that can be really challenging too.
It's not easy, and it's complex, and there's layers, and there's definitely purpose to all of it. With that said, I feel like just being this is why I say I don't like being lumped in with New Age spirituality.
It's its own religion.
It's become its own religion, and I just see the truth in it, but I also see the distortion in it. I also see it, just as another way to feed your ego, to bypass. To me, spirituality is so important, but it really is my own thing, and healing is right lumped in there with it, because healing, coming home to myself, that it feels like that's the key, and that's genuinely, like you said, it's like if you're spiritual because you have this higher perspective, sure, you have all of this spiritual knowledge and you can use all of this spiritual jargon, you might understand a lot. It's like, okay, well, how have you actually integrated that into this human experience? You might logically know that we're all equal. You might know that. Do you feel that way though? Or do you feel better than? Because there's a difference there. You might have the knowledge, but to integrate it is a whole other thing. Same with judgment and
And if you're feeling better than someone else, just like you shared that example, ask your guides, please help me stay humble. And humbling experiences will come into your life, because I always say that too. I say, help me stay humble. We need to stay humble, because that's the part of this path. That's what it is. You're becoming enlightened so you can help humanity. It's about helping humanity, but the spiritual, if the spiritual ego takes over, it's feeding your ego of I am better than, and I am special, and I am the chosen one. Where
we're all the chosen ones.
Yes. And it's like, you're doing this to help restore humanity. And there's something I want to dive into too. Like, this isn't just spirituality. This is religion. This is, we look to these leaders that look like they have all of the answers, but specifically just speaking to spirituality, because both of us are very spiritual, but in our own unique ways. That's so beautiful. And I think we're both really realizing the importance of like grounded spirituality. And that's something that we feel like is so needed because you're spiritual, to help it be easier to be here in this human experience and to be able to navigate this human experience while also trusting everything's happening for your greatest and highest good, and connecting and seeing the beauty and the mystic and the magic, but also be grounded here on earth to help in whatever way you feel called to help, which we talked about this a bit in the purpose episode.
And spirituality doesn't need to look any specific way. You know, I think that's another thing.
There's no rules.
Like, like if you're spiritual, you're this. It's like, no, like spirituality for me is very much so my own thing, as it should be your own thing. And it's something that evolves as you evolve, as you grow, and it's beautiful. And you know, it's really helped me live out this human experience. And that's what we need to remember is we are human. If we didn't want to be human, we wouldn't be here, right? We chose to forget. A lot of people use spirituality as an escape, right?
Yeah, it's a form of protection too, because it's hard here. It's hard here on earth. It's easy to be up. It's a survival strategy to be up in the airy fairy and like seeing things and spiritually bypassing, because we're human and I'm not going to feel that pain. I'm just going to focus on that. I know that I'm just a soul having a human experience. It's like, no, you're here to experience the pain too. That's why you're here. You're here to see the pain and the distortion that's going on too. We're here to be human.
We're here to be human. We're here to immerse ourselves fully in this experience. And I think, you know, we say this all the time, the most spiritual thing you can do is be human. Immerse yourself in this. Feel all of the feelings.
Feel your
ups,
emotions. Like the pain.
Yes,
we're here
the pain, the joy, you know,
Yes.
all of the things. And if, you know, it's not, you know, if you find yourself, I want to say it's not wrong to start having these other feelings, but it's important to be cognizant and aware of them. You know what I'm saying? Because we are human, and that's where the humanness comes in. You know, if you notice yourself using spirituality as an escape, or if you notice yourself judging or feeling superior, don't shame yourself for it, because I think that's a whole other thing is, you know, I believe that humans are innately good, so we don't want to associate ourselves with these negative things. Like, oh, I'm not that way. Like, I'm not da 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 da. So there's a lack of honesty within ourselves. So,
and that's where it can be dangerous.
Exactly.
Though. It's like radical honesty and ownership.
Exactly.
So because there's nothing wrong with that. You're human. That's going to happen. But I think if it goes unchecked, that's where it gets
dangerous. This episode is brought to you by the Beehive. Holly and I created this online space with such deep intention because we know how lonely and isolating the healing journey can be. And what we've truly come to know is the importance of a safe community that understands you. We've both experienced the power of being witnessed, held, and supported, and that's where true healing happens. The Beehive is a grounded, heart-led space rooted in connection, reflection, growth, authenticity, and self-love. It's a community built on grounded spirituality, not bypassing, but coming home to yourself through your body, your truth, and your lived experience. While we honor the magic of the mystical, we also know the importance of staying rooted. Inside, you'll find real tools, embodiment practices, and a community of like-minded people who get it. It's a safe space where all are welcome, where your wisdom, your struggles, and your growth are honored. If you've been craving a down-to-earth space to heal, grow, and feel supported, we'd love to welcome you into the Hive. Only $22 USD a month. Link in the show notes to join. We hope to see you there. You want your ego in the passenger seat. You want your soul in the driver's seat. You don't want it to be the other way around. And this is why, you know, like you said, like a part of my prayers every morning, because I understand the ego and how much of a slippery slope it can be, and acknowledging that I am human, I pray every morning. I ask, help me stay humble, help me stay rooted and grounded, help me stay centered in love, in compassion, in the heart space. And I know we've talked about this on other episodes before, but I pray. I also ask, any distortions within my own mind, help me see truth, help me see clarity. And I pray for that daily, because I am aware that I am human and I have an ego, and it is a slippery slope. And I think it's just important to really bring awareness around that.
Yeah. Specifically having a platform too, where people are listening too. It's so important to, there's just an accountability to even the playing field. Like, sure, we make these claims and we are strong in our conviction, and we do believe, you know, but I'm always open I'm always open to hearing other people's perspectives. Same. And I know you are too. And I don't claim to have all the answers. I know I'm human. I know I'm going to make mistakes. I know I'm here to shatter the illusion of perfection and act like I know all the answers, because no one does. And anyone that's acting like they're constantly I know, and listen to me, and I got this message. It's like, that's ego,
it's ego, spiritual
so
ego.
yeah, I think it's just so important you can listen to the wise women, wise men out there, and admire, because they're mirrors to your own potential to tap into. But at the end of the day, it's like, no, you hold that power. And I think the more that you tune into yourself and like really learn how to get on the same team as yourself and all like do the healing work, like do the human work of feeling your young pain and feeling all of that density, that shame that you may be carrying, the guilt, the pain, the judgment, the shame, all of it. And then, sprinkling in the good, we got to bring in the good, but it comes from really like feeling all of that and reconnecting to yourself and learning how to love these younger parts and come more home to yourself. So then you can come home to your like your wisdom, your inner guidance, your inner voice, your guides that are constantly guiding you and supporting you and sending you messages,
Yeah, I agree. And don't get me wrong, like I love my mystical experiences. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the beauty. That helps you keep going.
Yeah, they're profound,
they're
and
beautiful.
they're life-changing and perception shifting.
Some of the mystic experiences, though, like with plant medicine, are really hard.
Oh gosh,
they're really challenging. They're mystic, but they're really challenging.
Some of the hardest experiences I've had as a human is some of these journeys that I've had, literally like begging for mercy through it. Which
really challenging, but it's like the beauty in that, because it's happening for your greatest and highest good, which can help you connect more with yourself. It's not all love and light. And especially if you experience plant medicine, yes, you experience the mystic, but you also you are taken into your pain.
So just be so mindful of, and like I said, it's beautiful if you admire somebody, or if you really do resonate with what other people say and look to people for inspiration. That's not a bad thing at all. That's a beautiful thing. Just being very, very mindful that everyone is human, and any sort of group that you associate yourself with, we're talking specifically spiritual community because we're very much so in it, but this has to do outside of the spiritual community as well, religion, whatever it may be. If you really are getting yourself into any sort of group, just be very, very mindful of the leader, and discernment is so important, because this is where cults start. It's like no cult leader said, I'm going to start a cult today. It's not how it started. Like it often starts with good intention, but this is why I say good intention is not enough.
If something feels off, but you keep pushing it away, trust that something feels off to you,
even if you don't know what it is yet.
Exactly. Because your intuition, your gut doesn't lie. I mean, when we experience, there's a difference between, sometimes we can feel like when we're triggered, it's actually like a threat, like something's off, but that's actually like something within you. Right. But if you have this little inkling of something feels off here, typically when you're in a cult or something like that, people have those feelings, but they don't question it because no one else is questioning it.
And they don't necessarily know how to put words to it yet, right? It's like, I have this feeling, but I can't make sense of it, so it must be nothing. They ignore it. So it's listening to that feeling that you have and sitting with it. You don't need to intellectualize it or make sense of it right away, but trust that you're feeling into something.
Because I think it's just so important to always trust yourself. And I know I've said this so many times, but it can be really hard to trust yourself when you have trauma. So that's where it's learning, doing the healing, the somatic work, all of that to come back into your body, to feel safe in your body, to be able to discern what feels true and what doesn't feel true for you.
And it's okay if you change your mind. If your perception shifts.
We're here to shift and change. Thing. And I just think, it's just such an important topic, because I think just everything out there, we're just constantly looking for other people for answers, because but no one knows what they're doing. Everyone's doing the best they can. And I just think it's so important that we don't just put all of our eggs in one basket. We don't always just look up to one person for the answers, because they're human and they're gonna get it wrong, and you don't have to agree with everything. It's like really finding your own voice, finding your own way, reclaiming your power, because you constantly giving it to other people and seeking is like giving your power away. So you hold the light for yourself.
Yeah, and it's why they say like don't meet your idols, right? It's because we idolize these people and we make up who we think they are based on what we've seen, and we have this idealized version of them, and then you meet them and the reality doesn't match, you know, your fantasy, what you made up in your mind. It's like don't meet your idols. It doesn't make them bad people, but it's like we shouldn't be putting anybody in pedestals because they'll only disappoint you because they're human.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think there's just it's so important to know, like we've got a lot of wounded leaders out there right now, specifically now. And like, I do believe that all of it's going to come up. We're going to see it. We're going to see things for what they are. The illusions are shattering, and people that are really in integrity, I feel like are going to kind of start rising. But I want to say, a question, and I feel like what I want to talk about right now is like, how do we stay in integrity? How do we stay in integrity with this work? Because obviously we have a platform. I know that's something that I ask for every single day in my prayers too, is help me stay in integrity in my relationships and in my work, because we need people in integrity that, you know, we obviously have a podcast. We obviously feel called to share our perspectives for you to listen. Again, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But like, how do we stay in integrity? I know for me, I'm always asking to stay in integrity.
Yeah.
And I'm doing my own healing work, and I admit that I'm human and I'm not some superior being. And I admit my shadow. I admit that I have judgment. I have jealousy. I have comparison, but I know how to sit with it and get curious about it and not let it run the show. And like, I ask people in my life to call me out. Like my husband will call me out, and I sit with what is said. And I feel like it's so important to have people in your life too that like are willing to call you out if like you're acting out, you know.
That's what I was going to say. You know, for me, it's the same as you. I say my prayers in the morning and I continue to do the work.
Yes, like that's a part of it.
It's like, it's literally like anything, right? You could take a soccer player, and the more you practice, you're going to maintain, right? At the beginning of the healing journey, sometimes it's like there's a lot of grunt work. There's maybe more that you have to do at the beginning, or it comes and goes in waves, and then it still requires maintenance, right? Or it's like going to the gym. I'll use this. I used to be a personal trainer. So when it comes to going to the gym, if you want to build a lot of muscle, often it takes more work at the beginning to really build that muscle. Then to maintain, it actually takes less work. You don't need to work as hard. However, you have to be consistent with it still. So it's the same thing here. It's continuing to do the work, you know, our routines, the meditation, the journaling, the reflection, you know, being mindful when a trigger comes up, it's sitting with it, getting curious about it, stuff like that. And then, you know, the prayers, asking for help. And then the other thing I was going to add is like, I know that you know, like you, for example, like I know that I've surrounded myself with people who will be radically honest with me, who are not afraid to call me out, to question me. And then when that happens, it's sitting, and even if it's hard on the ego, we've been in this situation before, you know, even though it's hard, it's listening and taking it in and saying, okay, I am going to sit with this. And it's not easy to do that though, right. You know?
Yeah. And I think a lot of these people that we see like are probably surrounded by yes people, like they are too afraid to call people
chambers.
out. In these echo chambers. And that's where it gets really dangerous, because trust me, like, and that's why I love my family too, is because I know that they have my best interest at heart, and I know that they're here to help me stay grounded and think. It's not that I have to agree with everything that they say, but I know they're maybe bringing something for me to sit with, for me to open myself up to that perspective and see that perspective. But ultimately always trust myself, you know, but like surround yourself with people that are willing to be honest with you and call things out to help you see things from a different perspective.
And this is where that discernment is important too. It's like, because I know like we've had difficult conversations, and there's been times where it's like I've sat with this and I'm like, you're right. And then there's other times where I'm like, do you know what? Like I sat with this and I heard you. However, and then I'll give my other
myself.
And then giving that other side. This is where the discernment and learning how to trust yourself really is important. But it's that radical honesty with oneself, and not immersing yourself in echo chambers, because that's so dangerous.
And something I want to say too is like, practice what you preach. Everything I talk about, I implement in my life as well. Like I'm actively doing in my life when we talk about adding in more creativity, more joy, more pleasure. I'm actively working through those blocks to add in more pleasure. I'm not perfect. I'm, you know, I don't always like, I'm actively working on adding in more joy and pleasure and working through like my, you know, I've sat in my sexual shame, but getting curious about my relationship with my body and sex and all of it. Like everything I talk about, I'm doing.
Yeah.
We're interrupting this episode to share something close to our hearts, our virtual healing circles. We have been loving them so much and meeting so many of you incredible people through them. Brittany and I are passionate about bringing people together to support one another and heal in community. We felt alone on our paths for so long, and coming together in community has been instrumental to our growth, and we've both seen the importance in it. We aren't meant to do this alone. In unity and vulnerability, we find strength, courage, and support each other on our paths back to ourselves. Our monthly virtual seminars blend discussions, workshops, and practices to nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Whether seeking guidance, healing, or a listening ear, our gatherings offer a safe, inclusive space for people to connect, heal, and grow. Join us on this journey of healing in community. Together we can heal, grow, and thrive. Register for the next circle using the link in the show notes. We hope to see you there. And also being a good human out in the world. I preach about humanity and being out there in your community and loving one another. I smile at my neighbor. You know, I'm not always perfect, but I go out and I feel like it's important to practice what you preach. Go out and be in your community. You know, like if you're I am doing that. And I think that also keeps me humble, you know? So I think we've got to like, you know, practice what we preach.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm very much so, I feel I'm very much so that way as well. And with that is acknowledging the fact that we're human and we're going to stumble, we're going to fall down, we're going to get
perfect.
Back up again.
We get to be messy.
We get to be messy.
And we get to own if we misspeak. We get to own if there's something that like happened and we're like, oh, my bad. I sat with that and that actually like I totally understand.
Acknowledging when you're wrong, like on my platforms before, I've acknowledged when I have been wrong.
Yes.
You know,
and that's a huge ego death, you know, like, and that's what a lot of, I think people have a really hard time doing, you know?
But that's the walking what you preach, you know, that's the real work. That's, you know, and it's not easy, but,
making sure that the people that you're listening to are willing to own up to their mistakes.
Yes.
And not claiming to be all-knowing beings and getting all of these channeled messages and you listen to me. I just wanted to have this conversation too, because I find myself, like I said, like I got this message and then I'm like, oh, I don't want you guys to take that as that's your, like I got this message for what I felt, you know, because I'm connected to my guides. You're connected to your guides, to our higher selves, all of that. You are all too, you know? So it's like, I want to like just wanted to have this conversation.
Yeah, same. And it's an important conversation. Just because somebody has a following, just because somebody has a platform, it doesn't mean that they know more than you do, you know, and that discernment is so important. And while it's beautiful to admire people, know that you can be somebody that also really inspires others as well. You know, whether you have a platform or not, never underestimate the ripple effect, the people you come into contact with every day. You know, a smile goes a long way.
Absolutely.
A conversation goes a long way. So we just really felt called to have that conversation, just the importance of it. We feel passionate about this work. We feel called to speak out about a lot of these things. We feel called to speak our truth. And yes, I know I speak with conviction. I know that Holly speaks with conviction, while acknowledging, you know, the flip side and just, you know, wanting to just acknowledge that, and just the importance of acknowledging that.
And I actually feel called to share too. I know we have an add-on here for the Beehive, but like even we've been sitting with the vision and the mission for the Beehive because we have an online community and it's you know, it's growing, and we never want people to look at us for all of the answers, you know, and we've really sat with how we are wanting to bring community together where you all see each other, like you're sharing your own wisdom, because we don't have all the answers. No one has all the answers. Like you all have the answers too. You have your own wisdom, your insight, your own lived experience that we're all here to learn from. and like we felt called to create a community to bring people together to find like-minded people, but that doesn't mean that you're just going to hear and learn from us.
No.
You know, we want
Yeah.
and we're even like bringing in different people from people that we trust and see and feel are in integrity in the work in our space, like bringing them in to help learn, because we're all here to learn from each other. No one has all the answers. So I just think it's so important to realize, like, and two, even if you don't have a following or anything like that, like we're not all meant to, like, you can have such an impact on the people in your family, within your friend group, within your children, like within meeting strangers, whatever it may be. It's like, you don't have to. I just want to
don't underestimate the ripple. Don't underestimate the ripple. And we're all here for different reasons. Some people are meant to have a platform. Other people are meant to kind of have more of a quiet life. And that's beautiful. They're all beautiful. They're all different. It doesn't mean your impact is any less. It doesn't mean your impact is any less. So we just wanted to bring attention to that today because it's a needed conversation. It's an important conversation. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys listening to us.
Absolutely. Yes. And we hope we inspire and motivate you. That's the whole thing. I hope it inspires you and motivates you to learn how to come more home to yourself, to embrace your own authenticity, your own messiness, and be who you came here to be.
You know, because you are important and you bring something so unique that I can't bring, that Holly can't bring, that nobody else in your life can bring. So own your messiness, own your authenticity, and let's change the world together.
Yes. Yeah. And just real quick too, what I want to say with the leaders that I feel like aren't in integrity, doesn't mean that they're bad people. No, you know, they do, they are having some negative, which there's no excuse for that. But I do have compassion because I know it comes from wounds, and it's like they're doing what they feel, but that doesn't make it right. But I can see. So just want to acknowledge that too. And some things that they say, are good. People are innately good, and then it can get skewed when there's wounds. So and when people are like, it's from wounds, wanting to monetize, wanting to make money, wanting that power, like it's ego driven, it's wound based, and the society that we live in right now. So I just want to bring light to that too, because I don't want us to demonize anyone.
No, and I agree. And something I just want to go off of, with you saying that, because that's, I agree with everything you said. We're all human. We're all just doing the best we can. If you feel like, because I know some of you might feel like you're meant to be seen, you're meant to have platforms, don't get too upset if it's not happening as soon as you want it to, because that could be a form of protection, because the universe is like, hey, honey, we're proud of you. There is something for you here, but there might be some shadow that you need to acknowledge and integrate before you have that platform, so it doesn't turn out in a way that actually perpetuates more harm unknowingly. Like I said, no cult leader said, I want to be a cult. You know what I'm saying? No leader wants to not be in integrity, right? So it's like, it could be a form of protection for you.
Helping you along your path and like learning how to validate yourself, so you don't need all of this external validation and that feeding your ego. Trust the path, trust the timing.
Yeah, trust the timing. It's all in divine timing for a reason. It's like, don't give up on your goals or whatever. If you feel like you are meant to have a platform or share whatever, that probably is true. Just enjoy right here, right now. Trust that it's probably happening as a form of protection. Spirit's on your side with this. So I just kind of felt called to say that as well.
Yeah. Well, we'll end it with, again, you are your own healer. You are your own medicine. Your path is going to look very different than anyone else's, and you have your own wisdom and insight to share, and you hold the answers for yourself. All of the answers, all of the love, all the validation is inside of you already, just waiting for you to notice, waiting for you to tap into it. So I just really invite you to start sitting with yourself and learning how to get on that same team so you can tap into it and shine your own light here.
So thank you so much for listening. Let us know what you guys thought of this episode. We always want to hear your perspectives and whatnot too, like we engage in the comments, respectful discourse, always. Like the video, share the video. We would appreciate it if you guys would rate us if you enjoy. It means the world to us. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening.
We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Bye.
As we wrap up today's episode, we want to extend our deepest gratitude for joining us on this journey. Your support does not go unnoticed. If you enjoyed this episode and find value in our conversations, please take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback not only helps us grow, but also allows us to reach more people who can benefit from our community of healing and support. Every review, every rating makes a difference. Thank you for being a part of the Multiple Truths podcast family. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Multiple Truths podcast. Keep speaking your truth and spreading your light. We love you, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday.